Hey everybody, welcome back. In this module, we are going to learn how to launch your first meeting, and we're going to run through some in-meeting controls. The best way to access this for the most accurate display of your meeting is to use your laptop and go to your web browser and type in zoom.us. Do not use the little app that downloaded to your computer, which looks like this, because it's not going to be as accurate as going through the browser version. So go to zoom.us, and once you hit the web page, you're going to go over to My Account, which is over here on the right, and it's going to bring up your profile page. The next place you need to go is to your Meetings tab, and here's going to be a schedule of all of the meetings that you have coming up. So let's say it is Wednesday, April 15th, and we want to launch this sample meeting. All we need to do is click the Start button. Now, a couple of things could happen here. You may see that the meeting's already in progress. Do not panic if you see that. That just means somebody showed up a little early to the meeting, and they're either in the waiting room or they're actually in the physical meeting waiting for you to show up. So what you want to do is just go ahead, and if somebody is already in the meeting, it'll say join instead of start. But if nobody's in the meeting room, you are just going to hit the start button. So we'll do that now. And so now you're going to get this kind of a page. And what you want to do is, here is where you go ahead and say, yes, let's use the Zoom app for the meeting. So I'm going to click that there, and it's going to connect me with the meeting. I need to tell Zoom what kind of audio I'm going to use, and I'm just going to use the default here, join with computer audio. And then as you can see, I'm not in the meeting room yet. What I want to do is look at these controls down here to make sure that my microphone is working. And you might need to select the microphone. To do that, you're going to click on this up arrow. And I'm using my external mic called Yeti, but you may not have an external mic, so you would probably use the built-in microphone for your microphone when in the Zoom meeting. Same thing with this speaker. Again, you're going to probably use the built-in output. And here you can do some tests if you wanted to, just to make sure your speaker is working. The next thing is, you can see there's a big red line through my video. I need to turn my video on. I always recommend starting a meeting with the video off, because you really want to make that first impression a good one, and you don't want to look like you're fumbling. Okay, so let's explore this up arrow right here. We know that we're using the FaceTime HD camera, which is common, standard with the laptop or the computer. That should be checked. The next thing is, we have the option of choosing a virtual background. So let's go ahead and do that. So before we go into the meeting, we're all set up and ready to go. So if I click on that, it's going to be whatever I used last. And the last time I was on here, I happened to use the San Francisco background. So hi, everybody. Again, I can switch this to look like whatever I want it to look like. So pick whatever background you would like, and we're going to be in space for this one. So that's good. So now we've got that hooked up, and we're going to go over here and we're going to click on Start Video. And so I'm starting the video. I am the only attendee in the video right now, so that's what it'll look like when you first join the video. And as people start to add into the meeting, you're going to see a bunch of little squares with their faces, and it kind of looks like the Brady Bunch. So if you've ever watched the Brady Bunch, you know what I'm talking about and how that starts off. So we're not going to see that here because I don't have anybody joining the meeting today. I just want to run through some of the different features that you can use with Zoom conferencing. So let's check on security. So here are some things that we can do before people start joining the meeting. I can lock the meeting, and that's kind of important, because once everybody has joined and we know everybody has joined, that means we're not going to be crashed by outside people. And Zoom has been having some issues with this, where they're sharing inappropriate content and disrupting the meeting. So after everybody has joined, you might want to hit that one button that says Lock Meeting. The other thing you could do before people join is you can turn on the waiting room. So what that means is, you might not want everybody to join the meeting with you. So you might immediately. So you'll turn on that waiting room function So when people do join, they can all join as a collective group. The other thing you might want to make sure is on is your share screen. And that means if you're going to be doing some sort of a presentation where you might be using PowerPoint, or you want to share something on your screen that people can follow along with, you need to have that button turned on. Chat, you can do an in-meeting chat, and I'm going to show you that a little bit later. I recommend having that turned on because you can share things with your meeting attendees, things like links and attachments and files and stuff like that. And over here, it's up to you if you want to leave this on or off, depending on your audience. People can rename how they appear. So right now, if you look over here, mine says Max the Shih Tzu because I set up a little account for my dog Max just for this purpose of training. But if I leave that ticked on, that means people can change that name, that username, or you can turn it off so that people cannot rename themselves once they're in the meeting room. So it's really up to you how you want your meeting run. Okay, so let's look at our next function over here. This one is called participants. And so if you click on that, it's going to show you who all the participants are. And as you can see, it's me, and I can mute myself if I want to, or I can click the more button and I can rename myself. And if I need a profile picture, I can go ahead and upload one there. If there are other people in the meeting with us, you would see their names here and you would have some functionality over their accounts. Like you might be able to mute them from here, things like that. Okay, the next thing I want you to take a look at, and I think it's really important that you turn on at the beginning of every meeting, and that is this chat button. If you have that turned on, you're not going to miss any chat conversations that are going on here. And this is really important because as people are talking, they might want to send a message without interrupting the flow of the meeting. So they can easily just send a little text in there. You can add links in here if you want to, and those links are hot links, meaning people can click to them, or you can upload files over here as well. And all you would do would be to click this little file button, and I'm going to show you how that works. I am going to go ahead and just upload my headshot. If I needed to share that with somebody, I could do that there. And then over here, you can decide where that goes to. It can go to no one. I don't know why you do that, but okay. You could send it to the host. You could send it to everyone publicly and everyone both publicly and privately. And then if you needed to, you could send people private messages. So you would just make sure that you choose where that message is going to go before you send it. And over here where you see it says to everyone, if there were more people in this meeting with me, I could go ahead and click that, and it would be a drop down, and it would show all the people who are attending the meeting, and I could go ahead and pick and choose who I wanted to send that to. So I always recommend keeping this box open so you don't miss anything, but to close it, you would just go ahead and tap that again. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is the share screen mode. This is really kind of interesting and fun. This comes in super handy if you are going to do a PowerPoint presentation. My recommendation for you would be to have that PowerPoint open in the background before you even join the Zoom meeting, so it's an easy transition over to that PowerPoint presentation. And I'll show you what I mean in a minute. Okay, before we get into sharing, we need to go over some controls in the screen sharing section. So let's click on that up arrow here and let me take you through that really quickly. Okay, so you can have a couple of different settings here. You can have one participant share at a time, or you can have multiple people share at the same time. So I always like to pick this one because it's less distracting, but it depends on what your meeting structure looks like. Maybe you do need a collaborative share going on. This one here, if we click on advanced sharing options, it's going to show you all sorts of stuff here. Those are the first two options we had. Or you can really restrict this. So maybe only the host is the only person who's allowed to share their screen. For what I use Zoom for, I always like to have all of my participants share because I do a lot of trainings through here and I want to see what they're working on if they get stuck. And we can toggle back and forth between our screens. And then here, again, it's personal preference and what makes sense for your audience. If you toggle over to all participants can start the share, you might have people popping on the screen here and there, and it could be really disruptive. So, or you can just leave it to host, and the host is the one who determines who shares when. Okay, so now that we've got that squared away, let's go ahead and click this green button that is called Share Screen. And if we hit that, you're going to see you've got a bunch of different options that you can choose from. The first one is I can go right to my desktop. So if we do that, I can show you what's going on my desktop, and it's highlighted in blue. And in order to share my desktop, all I would do is hit that blue share button down here. Now, remember before I said, if you're going to be sharing a PowerPoint presentation, you want to have that presentation up and running in the background before you even get into Zoom. And here's the reason why. When you hit share screen and you're going to share your desktop, you don't want to be fumbling for that PowerPoint presentation, because let's look at how that will look. So if I hit share, all of a sudden you see this, okay, which is fine, which is Zoom, but now I've got to start PowerPoint. So that means I've got to look for it. Oh, I use Keynote because I'm on a Mac. So now that's got to launch. And it's just very time consuming, and it's not user friendly, and you're going to lose your audience. So do what you can to have all of that stuff up and running in the background right away. So if I wanted to, I could go to some presentations and launch one, but I'm not going to do that now. To stop sharing your screen, all you need to do is hit this red button. But let me just tell you something before we go there. You can move this around your screen, and sometimes this bar is going to end up in just a bad area of your screen. It's going to be distracting, and you're not going to be able to see behind it. So just click and drag that anywhere so that you can easily see your screen. Okay, so I'm going to stop share now, and we're going to go back to here. So hi, here I am. Okay, so let's take a look at share screen. There's some more options in there I wanted you to see. So I'm going to hit that green button, and you can see this thing called Whiteboard. Now this is a cool thing that you could use. Let's say you were trying to describe a concept or something to somebody and you needed to draw a diagram. Well, that's exactly what this is. So as you can see, this is in my way. I can't draw, so I'm going to move that out of my way. And here I can pick my pen or my line. I can pick a rectangle, and I can just start putting things together if I need to. I can even add text if I have to. Right now it's blue, so I can maybe make it red. So there's lots of things that you can do. If I need to show somebody as I'm going around so they can follow my cursor, that's what the spotlight feature is. If I have to erase something, we erase it. If you made a mistake about erasing it and you didn't need to, you just hit undo. You can clear all the drawings. Lots of things you can do here. So this works really, really well when you need to really draw out a concept. And as you notice, I can move this around too, so it's not in everybody's way. Okay, so I'll hit stop share here. And then one other thing that's interesting, if a lot of times what I do is I tend to train from my phone. And so I have the opportunity to train people from my iPhone or my iPad. And this comes in really handy when I'm teaching people something like Instagram, where it's not very conducive to a screen, like a laptop screen. I can show people things from my phone. So that's what that is. And then I have to pick the connections here. This just allows me to share my browser window. And this is the last app that I had up on my laptop. If I wanted to show people what I was doing in iMovie, I could toggle over there. Okay, so that's how you share things. Okay, this next section is the record button, and it's exactly what it sounds like. You can record your entire meeting, and this is only available to the host of the meeting. That person can elect to record the meeting and save it to their hard drive for distribution later. And this is really important because if you are teaching something or you're presenting a bunch of content that if somebody missed the meeting, they're going to be losing out. So you can always email it to them later. Okay, this next thing I'm going to show you is just an interactive feature, which is kind of fun because it helps people stay engaged, especially when discussion is going on. And it's called reactions. So if somebody's saying something and you really loved what they say, give them a little hand clap, give them an applause. Or if you wanted to vote on something, if somebody said, okay, anybody who wants to have our next meeting scheduled for Wednesday at 12 o'clock, give me a thumbs up. And then a thumbs up will appear on those people who voted for the next meeting date. These little icons only stay for a couple of seconds and then they'll disappear, just like that happened. So it's just a fun way to stay super engaged with your audience. Okay, the last thing I want to show you in this section is how to end a meeting. So if you are a participant in a meeting, all you're going to do is go to the lower right-hand side of your screen, and this button will actually say Leave Meeting. And the minute you click that button, your video will go dead, your audio will go dead, and you will no longer be a part of that meeting. If you are the host, this will say End Meeting for All. It doesn't say that right now because it's just me in the meeting. And you would just hit End Meeting for All, and that would end everybody's video and audio at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and click that now. And here we go. So I can either leave the meeting, which would mean other people could still be on using the Zoom room, or I'm going to end the meeting for all. So there we go. So that was it for how to use the meeting controls. I hope that was really helpful, and I look forward to seeing you in the next module.